Okay, so I'm here with Christian Allen from Civilian LC. How's it going?
Good.
Good. So you guys were our Indie Developer of the Month a couple of months ago. You came on the show, you talked about it.
Yeah.
For anyone that didn't watch it or missed it, what are we looking at? What is Takedown?
So we're looking at Takedown Red Saber. We're a hardcore squad-based CQB tactical shooter focused on realism, lethality, non-linearity, and replayability. We're going to be coming out this September 20th on PC on Steam and Xbox Live Arcade for the $14.99 price point.
Sounds good. So we noticed just at the bottom here, you're with 505 Games now. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that. Is that something recent, or is that?
Well, we signed a 505 Game, a partnership deal to help distribute and put out Takedown, because we ran our Kickstarter last year. So we had about 5,000 people donate for the Kickstarter. Worked with them, built the alpha. We actually released that alpha to our Kickstarters in July. 12 days late, but we got it out. And then 505 is helping us push this out to the Xbox and worldwide distribution. So we got now we're doing full eFigs localization for French, Italian, German, and Spanish, and obviously the Xbox Live version as well.
So in terms of the Kickstarter campaign, it's been a while now since that happened. How is that still? Is it still helping you? Are you still?
Definitely, definitely. I mean, it helped us initially because it's one thing for me to go around and say, hey, I have this great idea for a game. It's another idea, I have this great idea for a game, and these 5,000 people agree with me, and they paid money for it. But it's been also really valuable in the feedback department. So, high-level feature decisions have been made based on our Kickstarter's feedback. One of a small, well, it's not a small example, but one example was the build that we released that we showed at E3. There's a central aiming point in the middle of the screen, and it was kind of a debug thing that we'd left in and we kind of got used to. But the Kickstarter's got a hold of that, and they're like, we don't like this. It's not rewarding, using your aim down sights. And so we pulled that out and actually changed a little bit of the way the weapon's handling based on that feedback. So it's super valuable to be able to have this core group of fans and people that are passionate about the game that'll give you that ongoing feedback, and we can give them gameplay videos. They tell us what's important. One example was split screen on Xbox. A lot of people like split screen, but when we came out and said, hey, this is what split screen is going to cost. It's going to cost from a UI perspective. It's going to cost from a rendering perspective. The game in general on Xbox is going to look less detailed because we're going to have to support split screen all the time. And they said, okay, well, based on that, we don't want split screen. So that's actually some of the things the decisions that we've been made based on those people's feedback, which is hugely valuable and better than some friggin' focus group in Ohio with 10 guys that don't know what the hell they're getting into.
That was going to be my next question, is how valuable is that feedback, and how do you find that, because you're way more open about the game, like you just said right there, we said, this is what it's going to cost you in terms of you're going to lose this, you're going to, is that almost a tip you would say to people, to developers out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge, coming from AAA game development where you're very insulated and you're not allowed to communicate outwards and you never show anything until it's either fake or good. Usually start with fake, and then when it's good enough, then you switch from fake to not fake. We never showed anything fake, so it took some education to the community of this is, as part of our project, it wasn't just about making a game, hopefully educating gamers on how games are made. And it's a challenge on that point when we show stuff that's earlier, was rough or was gray box, trying to explain to people what we're showing them and what kind of feedback that we need. But the key component is, myself and my team, I've shipped, millions of units of shooters. My team from Zipper shipped millions of units. Our producer from Microsoft from day one has shipped millions of units. So, between us, we have like $1.5 billion of video game revenue generated. We know how to make fucking shooters. And so you take that information, you put it out, you gauge the feedback, and then sometimes you have to read between the lines and understand what people are trying to say or saying that they want, versus just like putting up a poll and saying like, vote on this, and then going with whatever they say, because then you end up with design by committee, and you still need the vision and the focus of the game. Like if I ask anybody if they want an option, like if I said, do you want an option for respawns in the game? They'll all say yes. Well, of course I want the option. Well, how about, do you want what do you want me to cut to put that in? Because respawns change the whole flavor of the game. There's a lot of systems that you got to build around them, and I don't think it's worth it. So even though if I made that poll, everybody'd say yes, I say no. So it's still, you got to be a good game designer and game developer on top of that. You can't just outsource all your decisions.
So very cool. So at what stage is the game we're seeing right now? Where are we with that?
Well, right now, basically, it's our beta. So we showed our alpha, which was locked down in May. That's what we showed at June and released in July. This build was locked down in early August, and then right now the team's also, pushing for that final polish. One of the things people have been a little bit surprised about is kind of the rapidity of like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing a build in July and it's shipping in September and there's bugs. And one of the benefits we have is, one, we do lockdown builds earlier, and show them later, because you get to a stable build and you say, okay, this is the one we're going to use for the demos for the next like month and a half. So that way the team can keep working, and you're not constantly like, oh no, we have a demo today, we need to fix 10 bugs just for the demo. But the other thing is, because we're purely digital and we're not worried about physical distribution, traditional game like this, if I was working on a Ghost Recon that was coming out in October, we would have had to been locked down by June to get the submission for Xbox so they could get to physical production by July so it could be on shelves by October. Well, on Steam, on September 19th, we can check in our final build and hit upload, and it's ready to go. So we get a lot tighter windows, which allows us to work longer on the game.
So I guess the final question is mod support. PC, is there going to be any? Is that something you're still kind of considering? Yeah, so
there's actually some exciting stuff. So our Kill House map, which you guys can check out today, we actually put a video up for our Kickstarters, and I'll share the link with you guys next week. Our Kill House map is built not just as a Kill House map, but it's a modular construction set. So everything's built to snap together. So there's all these walls and plywood objects, and basically what we're going to release is a big empty warehouse and then all these building pieces. So at the very least, someone even with no real art experience can get this level, because I actually built all of our Kill House maps just based out of these pieces that our artist built for me. So I built like a training level, I built 2 different multiplayer maps, I built a Tango Hunt that we're actually using for an unlock for pre-orders if they pre-order before the 20th for $14.99 on Steam. And but the idea is we'll release the editor, we'll release that content pack, and so day one, people will be able to start snapping those together. You can really put together a map in about a day, hit light map, the next morning you've got it all light mapped and you've got your new multiplayer level. And then we hope to support modding in more depth as well too.
That's sort of more depth, the actual pure that's further down the line.
Exactly. I got to look to, what kind of editor support we need and stuff like that. But I mean, the engine inherently supports it. People can pick up UDK right now and start learning how the engine works. We're actually pushing information out to Kickstarters like, hey, or actually not even Kickstarters, we got a mod forum with actually a mod group that's already working on a mod. But we're saying like, hey, doors need to be this wide. If you're gonna build in centimeters, like that kind of technical information. People have downloaded UDK and they're using the editor, which is very, very similar to ours. And so that helps with the learning curve, so it's not like, well, what's this new tech? It's kind of built in.
Well, thanks very much. Anything you want to say to the people at home?
Well, definitely check out the game. I mean, we're a small indie studio, and if you want to support something that's not another corridor, run and gun, respawn, cinematic, brown shooter, take the time to check us out. Share it on social media, and want to give a special shout out as well to kind of websites and communities like your guys. Without the kind of grassroots support, if you notice, there's a certain big media site that ran their first story about us about 2 weeks ago. Most of this has been grassroots campaigning from sites like yours, and we really appreciate that.
We always appreciate you guys talking to us. Thanks very much.
Thanks a lot.